I stared at the lottery ticket in my trembling hands, the silver dust from the scratch-off still clinging to my fingertips. $5 million. The numbers seemed to pulse with an impossible light in my dim apartment kitchen. My heart wasn't racing with joy, it was pounding with something darker, more complicated. A plan was forming, one that would finally answer the question I'd been afraid to ask for 12 years. Did my family love me, or just what I could give them? My name is Ren, and I've been my family's personal ATM since I was 15 years old. The night I discovered that crumpled lottery ticket at the bottom of my purse, I wasn't celebrating. I was bone-tired from working double nursing shifts, my scrubs still reeking of hospital disinfectant. My one-bedroom apartment felt like a way station rather than a home, somewhere to collapse between the endless hours I spent caring for strangers and the endless dollars I funneled to my family. Every paycheck I'd earned since high school had been divided before it even hit my account, half for me to barely survive, half for everyone else to live comfortably. My sister Brianna's college tuition, my dad's dental work, my mom's car payments, my aunt's medical bills, the list never ended, and neither did their expectations. The gas station where I'd bought the ticket 2 weeks earlier had been nearly empty. Just me and an older woman behind the counter whose eyes carried the same exhaustion I felt in my bones. "You should buy some tickets, honey," she'd said with a knowing smile that gave me chills. I got a feeling someone's luck is about to change around here. I don't believe in luck, never have. Luck is for people who can afford to dream. But something in her voice made me pause. Maybe it was the delirium of exhaustion, or maybe it was the universe offering me a lifeline when I was drowning. "Give me 5 tickets, I heard myself saying. The scratch-offs. For 2 weeks, those tickets sat forgotten in my purse while I worked shifts that blurred together and fielded calls from Brianna about needing $800 for a new iPhone. "Ren, everyone has the iPhone 14 and I'm stuck with this ancient thing. I look like such a loser," she'd whined into the phone. Did I have $800 to spare? Absolutely not. Did I send it anyway? Of course I did. Just like I'd done for 12 years. The night I found those tickets, I was cleaning my apartment, a futile attempt to create order in at least one corner of my chaotic life. The first 4 tickets yielded nothing. By the time I got to the 5th, I was feeling pretty stupid for wasting $25 I couldn't afford. Then I scratched the last one. When those numbers matched, reality seemed to bend around me. People like me don't win $5 million. People like me work until their bodies give out, eat peanut butter sandwiches for dinner, and give away money they don't have to family members who never say thank you. My first instinct was to call Brianna, to share this impossible news with someone. I actually had my phone out, her contact pulled up, when something made me stop. A cold clarity washed over me, like waking up from a dream I hadn't known I was having. What if I didn't tell them? Not forever. Just long enough to see what would happen if Ren suddenly couldn't handle it anymore. To see who would help the person who'd been helping everyone else for over a decade. I made coffee that night like I was sleepwalking, the bitter steam rising as my mind crystallized around this idea. For 12 years, I'd been their safety net. Every crisis, every want, every random expense, they came to me. And not once, had any of them thanked me like they meant it. My sister's words from our last call echoed in my head. "Finally, I thought you forgot." My mother's casual dismissal. Good. We were worried we'd have to ask twice. Ask twice. Like once wasn't insulting enough. By the time I finished my coffee, watching the sky lighten through my kitchen window, I'd made my decision. I wasn't going to tell them about the lottery win. First, I was going to find out who my real family was. The plan formed over the next week. I'd tell them I lost my job and was about to lose my apartment. See who stepped up to help the person who'd been helping everyone else for years. It felt cruel, but after a decade of being taken for granted, I thought I deserved to know the truth. That Saturday morning, I opened our family group chat, a digital space that had become a bulletin board for complaints and financial requests. I could see most of my relatives were online. Perfect timing. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, a strange mix of dread and determination flowing through me. This was it, the moment I'd find out what I was really worth to them. I took a deep breath and started typing. "Hey everyone, I have some bad news. I got fired from the clinic yesterday. They said they were cutting staff and I was one of the last hired, so first to go. I don't have enough saved up to cover next month's rent and I'm going to get evicted in 2 weeks if I can't come up with the money. I hit send and watched the little delivered notification appear. Then I waited, my heart hammering against my ribs like it wanted to escape. The response was almost immediate, but it wasn't what I'd been hoping for. Mom, does this mean you can't help us with the mortgage payment this month? My stomach clenched. That was her first concern. Not are you okay, or what can we do to help, but whether she'd still get her money. I typed back, I don't have any savings, Mom. I've been living paycheck to paycheck. Brianna, well, who's going to pay for my tuition now? The semester bill is due next week. The words on my screen blurred as tears welled up. Here I was, telling them I was about to be homeless, and they were worried about their own bills. I have my own problems right now, I typed, my fingers trembling with rage. I need help. I might be living in my car in 2 weeks. That's when Brianna really showed her true colors. Brianna, serves you right. If you were too stupid to save money for emergencies, that's your problem. You should have been more responsible instead of just working all the time like an idiot. I stared at my phone screen, the air rushing from my lungs like I'd been punched. Serves me right. I'd been paying for her college, her phone, her everything for years, and this was what I got in return. But it got worse. I watched as other family members started reacting to Brianna's message. Thumbs up emojis from Mom and Dad, heart reactions from Aunt Donna and Uncle Gary. They were actually agreeing with her. My hands were shaking, but this time it wasn't from excitement. It was from pure, undiluted rage burning through me like acid. The reason I don't have savings is because I've been helping all of you with money for years, I typed. I've been supporting this family since I was 15. Uncle Gary, you helped us out a few times. That doesn't mean we owe you anything now. A few times. I'd paid his electric bill for 6 months straight last year when he lost his job. Aunt Donna, we never asked you to help us. That was your choice. She'd literally cried on my shoulder while asking me to cover her insulin costs. Cousin Claire, you can't expect us to bail you out just because you made bad financial decisions. Bad financial decisions. Like keeping my father from losing his teeth was a bad decision. Like ensuring Brianna could pursue her dreams was a bad decision. I was crying now, angry tears that I wiped away with the back of my hand. But I had to see this through. I had to know exactly where I stood. I need a place to stay for a few weeks while I look for work, I typed. Can anyone help me out? The silence stretched for several minutes. Then the responses started coming in. Mom, we don't have room for you. You need to figure this out yourself. We're disappointed in how irresponsible you've been. Aunt Donna, I'm not taking in some unemployed person with no money. I have my own problems. Uncle Gary, sorry, Ren, but we can't help you. Brianna was the last to respond, and her message was the final nail in the coffin. She posted a photo of a homeless man sleeping under a bridge and wrote, Ren's future LOL. The reactions flooded in. Laughing emojis, crying laughing faces, thumbs ups. My own family was laughing at the idea of me being homeless. I closed the chat without responding. There was nothing left to say. I sat on my couch and cried for 20 minutes straight. Not sad tears anymore, angry tears. Relieved tears, maybe, because now I knew the truth, and it hurt like hell, but at least I wasn't wondering anymore. My phone rang 30 minutes later. It was my cousin Grace, who'd been in the chat but hadn't said anything. Grace was different from the rest of them. She'd always been kind, never asked me for money or favors. We didn't talk often, but when we did, she genuinely cared about how I was doing. Ren, she said when I answered, her voice gentle but firm, I saw what happened in the chat. That was disgusting. I almost started crying again just hearing someone show me a little kindness. Yeah, well, now I know where I stand, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Look, I don't have much, but I've got a couch in my apartment. You can stay here until you get back on your feet. No rent, no questions. Family should help family. And there it was, the one person who actually meant it when she said family should help family. Who understood that those words weren't just something you said when you needed money, but a commitment you honored when times were tough? After I hung up, I looked at that lottery ticket again, still sitting on my kitchen table like a live grenade. Grace had just proven she was real family. She was the only one who'd passed the test. The next day, I went to my supervisor at the clinic and asked to cut back to just one job and take 2 weeks vacation. She looked surprised. Everyone knew I was the one who always picked up extra shifts, who never took time off. "Are you sure you're okay, Ren?" she asked, genuine concern in her eyes. It struck me then how strange it was that my boss showed more care for my well-being than my own parents did. "I'm fine," I said. "Just need some time to sort things out." That evening, I researched what to do when you win the lottery. Turns out there's a whole world of financial advisors who specialize in helping lottery winners navigate their sudden wealth. I found this guy, Henry Clark, who had great reviews and seemed to know his stuff. When I met with Henry a few days later, he was completely professional about the whole thing, treating my win not as some miraculous stroke of luck but as a serious financial event that needed careful management. "Congratulations on your win," he said, spreading paperwork across his desk. $5 million is a nice sum. After taxes, you'll have around $2.5 million to work with. Now, let's talk strategy. First rule," he continued, leaning forward slightly, "don't tell anyone. The minute people find out you've won money, you become everyone's best friend and their personal ATM. You'll have relatives crawling out of the woodwork, friends with sob stories, strangers with business opportunities. It's a nightmare." I told him about my family test, and he nodded approvingly. Smart move. Most lottery winners go broke within 5 years because they can't say no to family and friends. You're already ahead of the game by finding out who actually cares about you. He helped me set up investments, explained tax implications, and gave me the best advice of all: don't make any big changes right away. Keep working, keep living in your apartment for now. The money will still be there in 6 months when you've had time to really plan. 2 weeks later, I packed a bag and moved in with Grace. Her apartment was tiny, just a 1-bedroom with a pull-out couch, but she made me feel more welcome than my own family ever had. Grace worked as a waitress at a local diner, not making much money, but she shared everything she had with me. She bought groceries for both of us, never asked me to contribute, and even gave me $20 here and there for job hunting expenses. I tried to refuse, but she insisted. "We all need help sometimes," she'd say, pressing the money into my hand. "You can pay it forward someday." We'd sit up at night talking, and she'd tell me about her day, ask how my job search was going, just normal stuff. It felt weird having someone actually care about my well-being without wanting something from me. Meanwhile, Grace had stayed in the family group chat, and she'd fill me in on what was happening. According to her, the family had basically written me off completely. "Your parents posted in the chat yesterday," she told me one night as we shared a pizza on her tiny balcony. "They said you'd always been the family screw-up, and they weren't surprised you couldn't handle adult responsibilities." Brianna posted some meme about freeloaders getting what they deserve. Everyone thought it was hilarious. It should have hurt, but honestly, it just made me more certain that I'd made the right choice. These people had shown me exactly who they were, and I believed them. After 2 weeks with Grace, I told her I'd found a job and an apartment. She seemed genuinely happy for me, which was such a foreign feeling I almost cried. "I'm so proud of you," she said, giving me a hug. "I knew you'd bounce back." If only she knew how much I'd actually bounced back. I moved back into my old apartment and kept working at the clinic, but everything felt different now. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't stressed about money. I bought myself some decent work clothes, replaced my ancient phone, got my car fixed so it stopped making that weird noise when I turned left. Little changes, nothing flashy, but it felt amazing to buy things without calculating whether I could afford groceries afterward. 3 months passed like this. Henry helped me invest most of the money conservatively, and I started looking at houses. Nothing crazy expensive, just something nice. Something mine. I'd recommend staying under $400,000, Henry advised during one of our meetings. You want to be comfortable, not house poor. I found this perfect little place, a 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood with a small yard and a kitchen that didn't have water stains on the ceiling. It was $380,000, and when the seller accepted my cash offer, I felt like I was living in a dream. Moving day was surreal. My own house. My own mortgage-free house. I kept walking through the rooms just because I could, just because it was mine and nobody could take it away from me. That's when I decided it was time to tell Grace the truth. I invited her over for dinner, saying I wanted to show her my new place. When she arrived, I watched her face as she took in the house, her eyes widening as she stepped into the open living room with its big windows and hardwood floors. "Ren, this is beautiful," she said, looking around in awe. "How did you afford to rent something this nice?" I smiled, feeling a mixture of nervousness and excitement bubbling up inside me. "I didn't rent it, Jess. I bought it." Her face went blank. "You bought it? With what money? You were unemployed 2 weeks ago." "That's what I need to tell you. I wasn't really unemployed. And I didn't really need a place to stay." I took a deep breath. "I won the lottery, Jess. $5 million. She just stared at me for a long moment, her expression cycling through confusion, shock, and then something harder to read. Then she sat down hard on my new couch. "You won the lottery. And you pretended to be homeless." I needed to know who actually cared about me. I'd been supporting everyone for so long, I wanted to see what would happen if I needed support for once. Grace was quiet for a while, processing everything. Finally, she looked up at me, her eyes searching mine. "So you tested all of us?" "Yeah. And you were the only one who passed. The only one who actually tried to help me when I needed it." That's when I handed her the check I'd already written out. $300,000. Her name right there on the pay to line. "This is for you. For being real family. When everyone else showed their true colors, you showed me yours." Grace looked at the check, then at me, then back at the check. Her hands started shaking, and I could see the moment the reality of it hit her, how this would change her life, how she could quit her waitressing job, maybe go back to school like she'd always wanted. "Ren, I can't take this. This is too much money. You can and you will. You shared your home with me, bought me food, gave me money you couldn't afford to give. You treated me like family when my actual family treated me like garbage." She started crying then, and so did I. But they were good tears this time. Happy tears. "Thank you," she whispered, hugging me tight. "Thank you for being the sister I always wished I had." And that's when I knew I'd made the right choice about everything, the test, the money, all of it. I'd found my real family, and it wasn't the people I'd grown up with. 2 months passed in this weird bubble of happiness. I was working at the clinic because I wanted to, not because I was desperate for money. Grace and I hung out all the time, and she was planning to use her money to buy her own apartment and go back to school for graphic design. Life was good. Then my bubble got popped in the worst way possible. I was planning a vacation to Hawaii, my first real vacation in 4 years, when someone started pounding on my front door like they were trying to break it down. I looked through the peephole and my blood went cold. Mom, Dad, and Brianna were standing on my porch, and they looked furious. I opened the door, and Brianna immediately started screaming at me, her face contorted with rage. "You lying piece of work. We know about the lottery. We know about this house. How could you do this to us?" "Brianna, calm down," I said, but she was on a roll. "Calm down? You let us think you were homeless while you were sitting on millions of dollars. And then you gave Grace $300,000. That money should have gone to me. I'm your sister." Dad pushed past Brianna and got in my face, his familiar cologne mixed with the sour smell of anger. "We found out everything, Ren. About the money, about Grace, about your little test. We know you've been lying to us for months. How did you find out?" I asked, though I was pretty sure I knew. Grace told her mom. Her mom told Donna. Donna told everyone, Mom said, her voice sharp with indignation. "The whole family knows now. They're all talking about how you screwed us over." I almost laughed. Of course that's how they'd react. Not Ren won the lottery, good for her, but Ren screwed us over. We've got mortgage payments, Brianna's tuition, Dad continued, ticking off points on his fingers like he was presenting a business case. You owe us. I don't owe you anything, I said, my voice steadier than I expected. But you want to know what I do have? I pulled out my phone and scrolled to the screenshots I'd saved from the family chat. The ones from when I was supposedly homeless and desperate. Remember this? I said, showing Brianna her message about me being a stupid, irresponsible idiot who deserved to be homeless. And this? I showed them the photo she'd posted of the homeless man under the bridge with the caption about my future. Brianna's face went white. I didn't mean that. I was just upset. And you? I turned to my parents. Remember when you said you were disappointed in me and wouldn't let me stay in your house because I needed to solve my own problems? Dad tried to backtrack, his anger momentarily replaced by embarrassment. We thought you were really in trouble. We were trying to teach you responsibility. You showed me exactly who you are when you thought I had nothing to offer you. Brianna literally laughed at the idea of me being homeless, and you both liked her post. Mom started crying then, but they weren't real tears. They were the manipulative kind she'd been using on me since I was a kid, the ones that always made me feel guilty enough to give in. Ren, we're family. We made mistakes, but we love you. We're struggling with the mortgage, and Brianna's education costs so much money. Can't you help us? I looked at all three of them standing there, hands out, expecting me to save them just like I always had. But this time was different. This time, I knew my worth. Serves you right, I said, using Brianna's exact words from the chat. If you were too stupid to save money for emergencies, that's your problem. Brianna's mouth dropped open. You can't be serious. Dead serious. You want to talk about family? Grace is my family. She's the one who offered me her couch when I needed help. She's the one who bought me groceries when she thought I was broke. You laughed at me. I stepped back toward my door. Get off my property. I never want to see any of you again. You can't do this. Brianna screamed, her face red with fury. We'll sue you. That money belongs to the family. Good luck with that, I said, and slammed the door in their faces. They kept pounding and yelling for another 10 minutes before they finally left. Then my phone started blowing up. Calls from Mom, Dad, Brianna, all the relatives who'd refused to help me. Text messages switching between begging and threats. Ren, please, we're desperate. You're being selfish. We'll take you to court. Family sticks together. I blocked all their numbers and deleted the messages without reading most of them. The harassment went on for weeks. They'd show up at my work, call from different numbers, even had some relatives I barely knew reach out on social media. All of them wanting money, all of them acting like I was the bad guy for not sharing. I didn't respond to any of it. Henry had warned me this might happen and assured me they had no legal claim to my winnings, so I just ignored them all. Eventually, through Grace, I heard that my parents had to downsize their house because they couldn't afford the mortgage without my help. Brianna was working at a coffee shop to pay for her own college tuition. Uncle Gary and Aunt Donna were dealing with their own financial problems without their personal nurse to call on. Last month, Grace and I went to Hawaii together. We spent a week on the beach, got massages, ate at fancy restaurants, did all the tourist stuff I'd dreamed about for years. Grace kept thanking me for changing her life, but honestly, she changed mine too. When we got back, I made a decision that surprised even me. I enrolled in pre-med classes. I want to be a doctor, and now I actually can be. No more worrying about student loans or working full-time while studying. I can focus on school and become the person I always wanted to be. I still work at the clinic part-time, but it's different now. I'm there because I like helping people, not because I'm desperate for every paycheck. My coworkers have noticed the change in me. I'm happier, less stressed, more present. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if my family had passed the test. If they'd rallied around me when I needed help instead of kicking me while I was down, would I have shared the money with them? Probably. Would I have kept enabling their behavior for the rest of my life? Definitely. But they didn't pass the test. They showed me their true selves, and it was ugly. The lottery didn't just give me money, it gave me the truth. And sometimes, the truth is the most valuable thing you can win. Thanks for listening, and if you liked this story, share it with others who might need to hear it, and don't forget to comment and subscribe for more stories about family, forgiveness, and finding your own worth. Remember, sometimes family isn't who you're born to, but who shows up when you need them most.